Imagine your marriage healthy, thriving, and fun again. Welcome to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Show, the ultimate power couple helping you with understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Woodrina Layton are here to help you step up your game when it comes to marriage, relationships, and so much more. With 30 years of marriage under their belt and a proven track record of mending broken bonds, you can rely on Coach Martez and Woodrina to empower you and your loved ones to have a strong connection for life. The Coach Martez and Woodrina Show starts now.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Everyone.
Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday to you. How you doing? How you doing? So glad you're joining us today.
Yes.
Here, I'm Coach Martez.
And I'm licensed therapist Woodrina Layton.
And you're listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show, Understanding Love, Accepting Truth, and Changing Your Perspective here on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour as we discuss some of the common misconceptions about marriage and relationships. And there are some misconceptions.
Yes, there are. And as we do every week, we're just looking forward to having a conversation that we can enjoy around walking out the journey of love, life, relationships, and fulfilling purpose as we share with you practical tips, new insights, and tools that you can use to improve your relationships, communicate better, walk in forgiveness, and just simply love one another better. So, we're just looking forward to today. And so what we're going to do today in lieu of our fun fact, we are going to pose the question: what does protecting your spouse or partner look like? Now, everyone knows where this is coming from. I'm sure you do, because if you didn't watch the Oscars live, you saw it because it was trending
Social
everywhere,
media,
everywhere. News, it was breaking news everywhere. So, and that's the talk about, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. And many say, where he even said, I'm protecting my family, stand up for my family. And, we've been hearing a lot of talk of people saying, well, he was protecting his wife. A lot of people agree, with what he did because they say he was protecting his wife. So the question I pose to you is, so what, would you want your spouse to do? What does that look like for you with your spouse protecting you? So personally, I'm going to say what it looks like for me, and then Martez can say his. But personally, I do not believe that that was appropriate due to the environment that they were in. And, I could see Will, giving Chris nonverbal gestures of disapproval, or even saying something to him, even in that moment, but just not aggressively, just not like how he did, because it was very disruptive. And to me, that wasn't the environment. Now, I can understand, me personally, I would want my husband to defend me. However, I would want him to, for me personally, that would have been embarrassing to our family, for me personally. So I would have wanted him to defend me by verbally, by the nonverbal gestures, or verbally saying to him, hey man, I need you, come off my wife. But now, best be it now, if we somewhere and someone physically, assaults me or does something to me, of course, I want my husband to beat him down. I want him to, to defend me and do what he got to do. But, it something like that, and in that environment, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't want, for me, protecting me doesn't look like jumping up, doing something like that in my relationship.
Right. And and again, this is just our personal perspective. Of course, there's a whole, well, that was Woodrina's perspective. And there's a whole lot of different perspectives out there, but this just goes into what we're even talking about in today's show, the misconceptions. Because, again, we're talking about some people in their relationship could have a different understanding of what protection looks like, and what does it mean to really stand up for me. What does it mean to be like my security guard, or to be
my protector.
And so for me in that situation, I know people have said, there was some beef there with him and Chris Rock before. There were some instances where some things that went on, and I know, I'm not aware of all of the backlash and all those other things, not the backlash, but all the other current things, or the things that have happened between them. But I will say, from my perspective, that was definitely not the place for that. That was definitely not the time for that. And yeah, so I totally disagree. I don't agree because I read something today where it says, and I want to apologize because I'm very when it gets into those allergies, oh man, runny eyes and oh boy, I get
really
it all
bad.
with the when them allergies hits in and that pollen really gets you. But I personally don't think they should take his award away, because I know I read today where they're actually saying they're having a meeting about really what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't recommend, or them take the award. The award is something you earn.
He earned it.
But what I would say is then it could be something where he and his wife may be suspended from attending an Oscar event for 3 years. They can't vote. Well, he can't vote for 3 years, because I know once you win an Oscar, you get to vote on the other winner. But I wouldn't say I would take it. But that would be what I would say. You definitely are suspended, and for those 3 years, it's not like we say Oscar award winner or something. I don't know. I mean, but yeah.
But he earned that.
I mean, you
Yeah,
did earn it, but
just,
it's just because of the fact right now, you don't want to have the Oscars associated for those 3 years.
Right.
That would be what I would say. So it's just like, no, just still, you got the award for these 3 years though. We're just saying you can't. So I mean, if other press do it, they can. But if you are doing something, but I know that's technically produced. But anyway, for me, that goes to the misconception again, as far as what do you want your man to do to stand up for you? And for me, it's different, and different people need to understand. Like that to me wasn't the environment. Like you said, I never thought about that, a hand gesture. It's like while Chris was saying that, he could have been like, I'm like, don't do that or something. Something.
Non-verbal gesture.
Or something like that, just to not bring attention to himself. Even though during that time, I'm sure the camera would have still been on you.
Yeah.
But it's like just something to just say, no. But it was definitely wrong. And then I know I've read where it was a few people that was actually saying something about Chris Rock, standing up for him.
Oh yeah,
because I really felt like
it's been debated on both sides. I've been reading.
Because you got to think about it now. If somebody walks up to you and literally slaps you, pretty much like they say, you just assaulted me. I have a right to defend myself. So he stayed professional. He stayed really in character, and just said, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do this. So to me, he needs to be awarded, applauded, or what I'm saying? That's just how I feel, because we do know, that he could have just turned, and then that was the first Oscar with a Black producer.
Yeah, with a Black production.
Yeah, Will Packer and his team. So what I'm saying is, Chris Rock had the right to turn that into like an all-out brawl where it's me and you for what you just did to me, and that would have just tainted everything.
So that shows a lot.
Oh man,
how he handled that.
That shows a whole lot.
That shows a whole lot.
And I do understand when you're saying when we talked about the alopecia, alopecia. Now
he wasn't aware of that. That's
I don't
like
think
many
he
of
was.
us. He wasn't. I read something that said he wasn't, but I wasn't. A lot of people.
Oh, I definitely know.
Aware of that. I guess you were. If you follow them and watch
I thought she said she did that because her daughter cut her hair. And I thought she said
she's very open about it. So I guess if you follow her on social media, you would have known about it.
So, but I'm just saying, if you think about all the comedians from Eddie Murphy, Steve Harvey, I mean, it doesn't matter, Cedric the Entertainer, it doesn't matter where you go with comedians, they normally pick on somebody in the crowd.
They always do.
You know what I'm saying? They see you, and then so when they say it, you'll just be there laughing like, man, I just know you up in Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them say something. So now, if you're gonna say it's okay because, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just use this. I don't want to be offensive in any way, but if that was a woman or a man who may be overweight, but they're overweight because of a sickness or something going on in their body, but then they're at this comedy show because they want to laugh, but they still are just dealing with whatever's in their bodies. So now when the comedian sees someone that may be petite figure,
Mm-hmm.
and you're with someone and it's like, oh man, I can imagine what that is like.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is you have no idea, and that person really may not even be smiling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or it may just be because they know you don't know, and it's just like they just don't want to bring negative attention to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, I mean, if you're gonna say that's okay, then that changes
but it's
everything.
But it's like you said, it's all about what are because when we're talking about these misconceptions of marriage and relationships, it's like, what are your expectations? What does that look like for you?
Yeah.
Because for some people, it's like, hey, I would want my man to defend me like that.
And
some people say that. But I can understand you feeling like that. But for me, I don't feel like that. I want my husband to defend me, but not in that environment. I wouldn't want that.
But also though, when you're using the word defend and protect, we need to understand, okay, boom, I can defend you verbally by just saying, hey, bro, that ain't, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's almost like you don't want to go to assault unless you pushing it.
Right. Unless you done assaulted me first.
Right. Or unless your words are so
physically assaulting me.
Or, your words can be verbally assaulted, like you're using the N word. You're using things to really just blatantly just be disrespectful. And now it's like, bro, that, but you know what I'm saying? That should be you should be pushed to the point of assault.
Right.
The first defense shouldn't be my hand, bam, and slapping you in the face. That's the way I'm saying. Right. You could defend, or you could just stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like even in that moment, he could have just stood up and just be like,
bruh, no.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you will automatically know, okay, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying in that situation there, that is one of those misconceptions of what we feel like, if I'm married, then, because I'm gonna just be honest, what about some of those men who may be married to a woman that know how to fight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then does that mean because you know what I'm saying, I can hit you harder than he could? I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Because shoot, I know some women, I'll be like, bro, I don't want her to hit me. I'm just for real. I always joke with Woodrina all the time. That's why I had to marry somebody that I know I can handle. You know what I'm saying? Just in case Woodrina want to get bad on me, I got her. I can just, you know what I'm saying? But I know some folk, it's like, bro, you go to talk crazy, your wife, she hit you, you gonna be like, seeing them birds.
Oh Lord, that's so funny.
You know what I'm saying? You be seeing them birds whistling with you. So, but I'm just saying, should my man set up for me? But I'm just saying nowadays women want to be equal. Shoot, they in there boxing and doing this.
And the question is posed, the question that I posed was, how does that look like for you?
Exactly.
And it's both ways.
Yeah.
It could be how the husband want the wife to defend him.
Right. That is true. Yeah. And that could be like we said about this misconception, because you would think the woman just like, oh, please come to my rescue. And she's like, oh no,
I can handle this myself.
I got this, bro.
True.
You didn't know what you know what I'm saying? It'd be like Madea. Be like Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? Be like Tyler Perry, Madea. Madea like, oh no, you ain't got to stand up for me. Let me handle this.
All right. So today, we're going to get back when we discussing, today we're discussing the common misconceptions of marriage and relationships. We went discussing, of course, what happened in the news. Everybody's discussing that, but we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to continue more on this discussion. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Let's go.
We want to invite you to our 5th annual Married for Life Walk Weekend Experience.
Yes. You don't want to miss our Friday evening couples conversation and love celebration. As we always say,
never let go of the hand you are holding.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We are back on the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show. We have been discussing, well, our topic today is common misconceptions, some of the common misconceptions in marriage and relationships. But before the break, of course, we were discussing, the event that happened in the news with Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada, and what does protecting or defending your partner looks like in your relationship. So we discussed that. And I mean, so we can move on if you're okay.
Right. No, I'm good. And then, but I just say though too, it's important to, like we say, not only what does that look like, but it's good to understand, when is it appropriate?
Yeah.
And then how does that? Because you know what I'm saying? Because you just think, because you may want to just ask your spouse if you haven't done it, what would be your action, or what do you feel like I may want you to do for me or something?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this does cause some conversations in relationships to really see, like you said, what is your expectation? Because you could be married to somebody or in a relationship with somebody, and in their mind, they may be thinking I'd have did the same thing, and then you like, well, no, I'm glad that we having this conversation.
Right.
Because honestly, if somebody just says something, I wouldn't want you to resort to violence, because nowadays it's not only just the physical, because you got to just think about a lot of Americans actually carry a weapon. I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, somebody actually has one. Well, both of us have them, but one person will be scared to really have to use hers.
I really don't want to have to use it, but I got it.
But on the other hand, this guy, it's like target practice, buddy. I'm just telling you, I love Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm gonna pray for you, but I'm gonna stop you in your tracks. Trust that. But now, Woodrina, please don't make me do it. Please don't make me do it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm just saying, you really want to have that conversation to like what would be appropriate, because again, people, just be honest, people are on the edge. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's always something on the news about road rage.
Yeah.
That wasn't even road rage. That was actually verbal rage by what you said.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then so just think about if that was at a grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just at a local Kroger or a local Walmart, and then you see on the news, man got slapped and beat down and got shot because he said something to the other man's wife about boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then he got shot.
Yeah.
Then you'll be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, he deserves to go to jail. Why did you shoot that man? Or why did you do this? But then in actuality, you don't know, and you weren't there. But I'm saying the same situation with Will is like when I told you when it happened, I'm like, violence is violence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You resorted with protecting using your hand.
Yeah.
There are people that are going to protect using a weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
And so when you this is just my perspective, because truth is parallel. So if you're going to say it's okay in this situation,
right, then
that means it's okay in this situation. Your weapon of choice was your hand. Somebody else's weapon of choice could be a 9mm.
Yeah.
It could be a Glock. That was my choice, and this is how I retorted back with you. Now what are you going to say? Well, you didn't have to go that far. Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. You didn't have to go that far with slapping him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. But it is a misconception, and of course, we've had dialogue. We were actually celebrating my birthday, and so I'm saying, and so with Rena, that just took her. You know what I'm saying? So now we celebrate my birthday talking about this.
Yeah.
I can't even enjoy my good dinner.
We've had a lot of conversations around this with other people too. So
now I wonder if Brenda McGregor is listening, because we already know. Hopefully, Mike. I don't want to hear what Mike McGregor got to say, because Mike McGregor, buddy, well, Coach, right now, Coach.
That is true. That is so true. So but that's why it's good to just discuss it, so you with your partner, so that way you all know what it looks like for your relationship.
That's real.
Yeah. So let's get into some of
I
these.
can't wait to see we have some comments about this. I want to see what they say their husband would have did.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We'll have to go back and look.
I don't know if Jacob can tell us any of the comments. Show us up there. All right, let's go.
So anyway, there are several misconceptions around marriage and relationship, and some of them people actually believe. So it's really good to to just talk about them with your partner before going into a relationship, because it can mess up your expectations.
Absolutely.
It's like you're looking for one thing, and then it's like that's not the truth. So it's good to break down some of these common misconceptions. So let's see. One of them we have here is having a healthy relationship should be easy, or marriage shouldn't be work. They both go hand in hand all the time. It's
marriage
like shouldn't be work. But it's like you're bringing two individuals together, two unique individuals with different personalities, different ways that they process and think about things. And so it's going to be work. Like we're two different individuals. So I have to be able to understand things from your perspective. You have to be able to understand things from my perspective. Yeah. So it's going to be work. We got to work at this. And so I'm going to have attitudes. You might have attitudes. So we got to learn how to work with these attitudes and figure out how am I going to adjust to you when you're doing something, so that I don't always take offense. So it's a lot of work.
And that could be the thing that I guess sometimes, I know I've heard people say different things, and that word work could be what kind of gets some people stuck. Because, when I think about the word, because we know how some people words really affect the way how they feel or see a process. And so if you don't want to use the word work because it just makes you think about a job, then just think about it like this. Marriage is going to require change. It's going to require some challenges. It's going to require some conflict. It's going to require some compromise. And those things are going to be a revolving cycle. And so when we talk about work, that's really, and I forgot another one, discipline.
Yes.
It's going to require discipline. So like for us, all of those words equal work. But for some people, when they hear work, I've heard some people say, well, it shouldn't be, but I think, that word work could be broadened out to be marriage. Healthy marriage relationship should be easy, or marriage shouldn't be work. Then think about saying marriage shouldn't be compromise. Marriage shouldn't be challenges. Marriage shouldn't be conflict. Marriages shouldn't be discipline. Oh no, absolutely. You got to have those.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying some people get stuck on that word work, like it's something like you going to a job. But what we're saying is it takes a commitment. It takes discipline. It takes change.
And it's daily.
And that part always is not easy, because it's like you're being conformed. When you're married to someone and you're loving that person, you actually go through transformations. I'm serious.
And it doesn't always feel good. So that's what makes it where it's not easy. So when when people say a healthy relationship should be easy, it's like, no.
We come from two backgrounds.
Two different backgrounds.
I'm gonna just tell y'all, I grew up with my mother and my grandmother, what I'm saying, down south. Woodrina grew up in Virginia. But when I went to Woodrina's house, everybody was loud. They just talk loud. Even her aunties and uncle at her grandmama's house, you walk in, it's like you outdoors. Everybody's loud. My grandmother was a school teacher. You know what I'm saying? Even though her mom was
a school teacher.
But they were loud.
I know.
But my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? It was quieter. So when I first went to their house, it was literally like the stereo was turned up. But you just having conversations. So what I'm saying, exactly, she still talk loud. So we can have a healthy relationship, but in our healthy relationship, she had to constantly take years of just, okay, let me work on my volume. Let me work on my volume. Let me work on my volume. And so what I'm saying, that takes discipline. That takes change. And then I had to realize while she was working to bring her volume down, I had to show compassion. I had to be understanding to realize this is her norm. So now you are asking her to completely change. You know what I'm saying? And that takes that takes some work. That takes a commitment and discipline in those things. And so, and that's not easy.
Yeah, because I used to come off aggressive, and even still today, I had to say, now I'm not, he'll say, okay, watch your tone. Okay, let me come down, because I'm not being aggressive, but it'll sound like that because I'm just so loud. I just talk loud.
Right. And so that's what we're saying when we say, because but that doesn't mean that's easy. It's not.
It's work. And and like I said, here it is today, 31 years later, it's still work.
Right.
So that's why I use the word work. People say it shouldn't be work, but I do like how you say, okay, well, let's change that word work.
Well, for some people, it doesn't bother.
Right. So for those where it's a problem, let's change that word to compromise, discipline, challenge. It takes daily. It's daily.
Yeah. And then I like it though, because when you say a healthy relationship, now this is going to help you to really put this together. If you weren't living a healthy lifestyle and you started eating a healthy diet, you look me in my face and tell me it doesn't require work to get all of your meal prep ready to do that. Because I'm going to just tell y'all, I normally don't do the work. I'm married to a woman that does all the work for me when it comes to eating healthy. She's the one that measured the meat, measured the vegetables, was doing all of this stuff when we were going through this health challenge. That took a lot of work. So the same way you're going to go through those disciplines and those commitments in creating healthy eating habits. That's work. It's the same way with marriage.
It's the same way.
You're going to have a healthy marriage. You're going to have some daily commitments thing that's going to take a little bit long.
Exactly.
And women, y'all know this. Because women would take 45 minutes to do their makeup.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You would take 45 minutes to do your makeup, but then your husband said, I ain't got time to be cooking for you. But then you had time to do 45 minutes on your makeup. But now you ain't got time to cook for me.
Right.
And the meal you can prepare in 15, 20 minutes. I ain't got time for that.
That is so true. So
that's what he's saying. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's work. So we're gonna you're listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we will continue more on discussing common misconceptions in marriage and relationships.
Let's go.
We want to invite you to our 5th annual Married for Life Walk weekend experience.
Yes. Married, engaged, and seriously dating couples, come join us here in Atlanta this April 22nd and 23rd.
We will be connecting with other like-minded couples representing love, marriage, and staying together for life.
You don't want to miss our Friday evening couples conversation and love celebration.
God, I thank you for this beautiful day. God, I thank you for every marriage that's right here before you. Every son, every daughter, every grandchild, God. I thank you for every hand that made it up here. Every community that's represented here. We are standing for marriage.
And remember, as we always say,
never let go of the hand you are holding.
We are back. Welcome back to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show. We have been discussing common misconceptions about marriage and relationships. But before we continue, I just want to make sure that everyone knows how to connect with us. If you want to connect or work with Martez and I, you can visit Dream Builders. coaching.net, and on Facebook we're Dream Builders Marriage Coaching and Counseling. If you would like to just connect with us, Martez on Instagram is at Coach Martez. I'm at Woodrina Layton. Twitter at Coach Martez, Twitter at Woodrina L. And so let's get back into, some of these common misconceptions about marriage and relationships. And I just want to touch on this one right here. Once you get married, sex becomes boring and is no fun.
We hear that. We hear that.
It's like now, like when we were dating, it was like you did this, you did that.
I remember.
So then it's like, so people feel like, well, man, I don't want to get married. I want to keep dating because once you get married, the sex becomes boring and it's no fun. And so that goes back to the misconception that we just talked about as far as marriage is work, because basically it takes that daily commitment, that daily disciplined and being intentional to actually make sure you keep your sex life fun and exciting. It doesn't have to become boring. It will only become boring if you make it boring. Right. It doesn't. That's not a given. Right. With any marriage, that's not a given. Right. It only becomes boring if you actually are boring and you don't do the things to keep it alive and sexy. Right.
And I would just say, I know nobody really intentionally desires to become boring, but I do understand, like you could say, when I was dating, you were my priority. Then when you get married, now you got house chores. Now you're doing laundry, you doing dishes, you doing this, then you got kids. Right. So I don't believe nobody intentionally wants to become boring, because if you do, then you kind of set that person up. Because you had been thinking about that in your mind. I just want to see what I got to do to get them. After I get them, I ain't gonna keep doing this all the time. Now that's a wrong perspective to have. Yeah. But a different one is just understanding, the same priority and the same importance that you put on the sexual piece. Once you become married, it's like, boom, we got to keep this going. You know what I'm saying? You have to want to do that, and you want to keep things fresh. Yeah. When you just dating, it's like, I don't, I know there's a whole lot of people trying to get you, and I just kind of want to keep you. But then once you got them, it's like, well, I got the ring on now. So it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? We good. But no, that's not the perspective you want to take. And in actuality, especially if either one of the spouses' primary love language is physical touch and those type of things, you still want to educate yourself. And I'm gonna just tell people, I used to tell people for years, for the first 16 years of our marriage, sex wasn't really like one of my priorities or one of those things that I really wanted to see how to please my wife. And honestly, what I had to do is I had to start educating myself. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say, for those, it doesn't get boring, but it's just that when you get busy or you may not make it as a priority or you don't know what else new to do, then educate yourself, find out things, read and learn. The same way we continue to learn about finances, the same way we continue to learn about better ways of taking care of our garden. You know what I'm saying? Because you have some people, they spend a lot of time in their yard. I'm just telling you, they spend a lot of time in their yard. They know the specific plants, the specific seasons, and all of this. Well, I ain't even think about that. There are some people who spend more time with their plants than they spend with their spouses. You know what I'm saying? Oh, for real. You have some people, when they get time to do their lawn work, it's like they come alive. It's like you at Lowe's. Y'all, look, you ain't never been at Lowe's. You ain't never been at our Home Depot. And you seen people getting their stuff for their garden. True. Man, it's almost like it's Christmas time in spring.
Yeah, that's true. Because some people, that's their hobby. That's what
they love that. Yeah. But then what I'm saying is you're constantly learning. You know how to nurture this plant, how to do this, how to do that, how to do your water. You know how to do all these things. But then when it comes to sex, like, yeah, you be wanting to do it and stuff. It's like, come on. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It does not have to be boring as long as you continue to invest interest, to invest passion into doing it. That won't be the case. So the misconception, it gets boring. No, that's only if people want to allow that to happen. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Yeah, be constantly learning.
That ain't real.
We always constantly learning and growing. That's correct.
Like me and Woodrina be saying, I just want to tell y'all too now. You got some of these 60-year-old people. Don't let these 65, these things, we talk to some people and they be like, oh no, We still going. I'm like, look, that's what I want to do.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the grandmamas back in the day. You know, grandmama back in the day, granny done put on her stockings and stuff. But these grandmamas now, shoot, they 65 years old. Grandma roll.
Right. That's right. That's right. All right. So then, we have another one here. Sometimes people think that because a couple loves God and they are always having moments of public display of affection, that they probably never argue or have fallouts.
Absolutely.
And and that's false.
Right. That's a misconception.
Yeah, that's a misconception because we all have disagreements. Right. Every couple, no matter who you are, how loving you may seem, it may not be an argument, right. Because as you grow in your relationship with your partner, you don't really have arguments.
Well, not bad.
Yeah, it's not like you know how to manage your arguments. It's just disagreements. It's like we have disagreements instead of arguments, but we still gonna have them because we're not gonna disagree with. We're not gonna agree on everything. Yeah, so we're always going to have disagreements and fallouts, no matter how much we love God, or how much we love our partner, or how much we, showing love and affection, when we're out in public, or or even with one another, in private. It doesn't matter. We're still going to have fallouts.
Right. And and that's just one of those things, like we say, there are no perfect couples. And having a love for God and having those PDA moments and those special moments, that's really good. But don't just feel like because I remember Woodrina will all the time years ago be like, yeah, because like I said, I wasn't a big physical touch person. So I wouldn't want to be holding her hand and hugging and stuff like that. That was what Woodrina wanted. I really wasn't big on that. But what I'm saying is I didn't know then. I didn't have the knowledge and understanding that I did years later. So Woodrina be like, yeah, I just really wish you would hold my hand like that. Yeah, I just really wish you would hug me like this and do like that with me. But then we look at some of them same couples today, they divorced. You know what I'm saying? Some of them same couples would be like, man, yeah, just look at how much they just be kissing each other and stuff. They just look like they just having, wow. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But in actuality, just because you're doing that doesn't mean you really have that love bond that is unbreakable. Yeah. And so we just want to say, I always tell couples, don't look at other people. Just get an understanding about the person you love and what works with the both of you. Right. But if holding hands, and if that's something you want to do, do that, not just because you see other people doing it. And then, like I tell you, there's some people who can argue. There's a book, I forgot his name. It talks about arguing styles. And in that book, he talks about how just because you arguing doesn't mean you're not in a healthy place. Right. Like he explains, some people, that's just their style. Yeah. That's how they communicate. So don't be confused by just thinking, oh man, I know they say we always arguing or we always fussing. For some people that can always be arguing and fussing, that's their style. Yeah. That's how they really communicate and keep their love strong, keep their bond interesting with them. Right. So don't just assume that oh man, they always,
because you see them arguing, it's like, oh, they about to get divorced.
Oh yeah, they ain't never in a good space. Right. You'd be totally wrong. They could be in a better space that you and your relationship is in, because in actuality for them, that's what works for them.
That is correct. And so another one that, we hear often is soulmates or destiny partners should not be able, they should be able to read one another's minds. Like my partner should know what I want. My husband should know what I want. I shouldn't have to ask. Why do I have to tell him? And it's like I always like to say, we're not mind readers. We're not psychic. Right. So it's he doesn't know, what I want and desire until it takes years for that. So I gotta tell him. I have to tell him that I'm unique. So this is how I want to be.
And people change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you change through the years, you change. So he could be thinking, okay, well, no, I know you like this.
You always wanted that.
No,
you always wanted that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, that doesn't mean that, we're still not soulmates or destiny partners just because I have to tell you what I want. It's okay.
You should have known I wanted this. You've been with me for how long and you don't even know this? they may not know.
Yeah.
And then the question is, have you communicated that to them?
Exactly.
So, just because we're destiny partners and you get, trust me, you get to that place where you do start thinking on the same wavelengths, hearing things on the same wavelengths, feeling things together, but it takes some time to get to that.
Yeah.
So don't just assume that it's always there. And even when that does happen, you still don't want to assume. You would say, I want to ask.
Yeah.
That's why we always talk about, being assertive, making your desires known.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Making those things known
You
so
gotta
the other
communicate.
person doesn't have to try to figure that out. But just because we really love each other and we're connected, don't just say, oh, you should have known when I got home I was going to want something to eat. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I didn't know.
Can't read your mind.
Right. I didn't know what your plans was or anything. So don't put that pressure on them that you should know. But in actuality, just be willing to continue to help one another out by just expressing your desires verbally.
Yeah, having that conversation. And it doesn't mean anything. A lot of people say, if I have to ask, it's not meaningful.
Right.
That does not mean that it's not meaningful if you have to ask.
Right.
It's like, because how would they know if you don't ask?
Right.
It's just, that doesn't mean anything, because once I communicate to you what I desire, then you showing it to me, that is meaningful. That means a lot, because you're trying to do what I'm asking you to do.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like this again. We in the bed laying down, you touch my knee and then say you wake up in the morning. I'm like, wonder what's going on. And you all upset talking about I touched your knee. That was the sign to let you know I really wanted to do something a little bit more. Bro, I know you just touched my knee. What that mean? Come on. You can't be thinking I know what that means.
Take it a little
further.
Well,
you did touch my knee.
Touching my knee.
What that mean? I didn't know that sign.
Exactly. So you're listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to continue this discussion on the common misconceptions in marriage and relationships.
Absolutely. Let's go.
We want to invite you to our 5th annual Married for Life Walk weekend experience.
Yes.
You don't want to miss our Friday evening couples conversation and love celebration. As we always say,
Never let go of the hand you are holding.
Come on. Welcome back. You've been listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show right here on Transformation Talk Radio. Hopefully you've been enjoying the show today. Of course, we were talking about the Will Smith slap early and just the misconception of just understanding what do our partners, our spouses want when we talk about protecting me and standing up for me and really what that looks like, and just kind of sharing our perspective on that. And so now, again, we're still just talking about some misconceptions in relationships and in your marriage. And so we got one here. Here's another. All right. Keeping secrets about my past or present is okay if it will only cause my partner pain. Now, you don't really need to know that.
Right. You don't really need, I don't need to tell them that. That happened before. Okay. That's a misconception. That's not, let's break that one down, because I believe that anything that no secret should be kept in any relationship.
Mhm.
Your partner should know everything, because you don't want someone to knock on the door and tell them anything that you haven't already disclosed to them or told them. So
Mhm.
you don't want that situation to happen, because it's either going to cause pain now or it's going to cause pain later.
Absolutely.
So it's better to go ahead and get it out now, because it's more pain when you wait later. And I can understand, because some people say, well, yeah, but this happened before we were married. But no, if it's something that could potentially affect your relationship,
Mhm.
you want to share that with your partner.
Right, right. And one of the things I always say about when it comes to secrets, I pretty much just say, just think of secrets as seeds, SEEDS. So pretty much that's a seed that you planted in your heart that actually we know all seeds will produce.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if that's a seed that you just planted, it's going to end up producing. And when it produces, it most likely is going to produce some type of fruit or something, a leaf, however you want to say it, that you didn't want to see,
Right.
that you didn't want to be a part of your life. And so that's what I'm saying. So just think about, any secret is a seed. When I plant it, it's going to produce something. Now, it's going to produce normally when you don't want it to be produced.
Right.
And it's never going to produce anything good in your life.
Yeah.
That's what I say. So it's never good to say, and then that's another justification. If it's only going to cause pain for my partner, it's not technically causing pain for your partner. It's really causing pain for you to be truthful about something that you don't know how your partner is going to react to.
That's so true.
It's not pain for them. Is actually more emotional pain for you.
That's right. Yeah, that's good right there. So yeah, even in any relationship, keeping secrets is poisonous.
You don't want to.
It's not good.
It's not good.
From the past or the present, if it's a secret, it's poisonous.
Right.
So
and
you
so
don't want to keep that.
And so just something to just remember, just ask yourself honestly, when you just close your eyes and just wait for about 3 seconds and then just say, is there anything I don't want my spouse to know? And whatever image pops up in your head, that's the secret. That's the one thing that you ain't sharing. Because trust me, any secret, it comes just like that to the top of your mind. So that's what we want to say. And we don't want those.
Yeah.
We don't want those seeds in your life.
Exactly.
And some secrets do require us to do what this next thing talks about.
Yes, because we're going to go into this last misconception. Marriage coaching or counseling should be the last resort. Or some people say, well, we have to see a marriage counselor or a marriage coach, that means we're really in bad shape. Or I done heard recently, we don't need nobody else to be telling us, you know,
we can just talk
it out ourselves. Those are all misconceptions, because first of all, it should not be the last resort. It should be done for maintenance. Just like you go to the dentist, the doctor for preventative checks, it should be done for maintenance. That's why premarital coaching and counseling is so important. And then if you have to see a marriage coach or counselor, that doesn't mean that you're in really bad shape. It's like you just come to a hiccup, and I just need to get some help to get over this bump in the road that we're experiencing.
Or sometimes from a coaching perspective, it may not even be a hiccup. It could just be something I'm just trying to see, how do we move forward?
Yeah.
How can we improve? How can we be better?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, especially for those, in the Christian faith, how can you say we don't need coaching and counseling when you sit up at church? You can read your Bible. You can talk to God. Why you need somebody else doing it? You know what I'm saying? So the same way you go to a church to hear a minister actually give you certain things out of the scripture that you may not have thought of or is explaining, that's what good coaches and counselors do. They help to discover and help you to discover and uncover things you may not have thought of, you may not have seen. That doesn't mean nothing is wrong. It doesn't mean anything is bad. It's just a way to help you even be more fulfilled and more healthy and more well-rounded in your relationship. But that doesn't mean you're in trouble. Actually, what I always tell every man, it takes wisdom and it takes maturity to go and listen to a coach and a counselor help you to maximize yourself. That's wisdom and maturity.
Yeah. That's good. So there's nothing wrong with it, and
Absolutely.
it shouldn't be a last resort, and it doesn't mean that you're in really bad shape. Because we really wanted to, just to bring out a few, but it's very important to have these conversations, with your partner or your spouse regarding, what are your beliefs, what are your expectations in this, with this relationship, because
Mhm.
understanding common misconceptions is important because it can help you not to go down those negative, downward spirals in your
Right.
relationship, because you'll be disappointed or happy in life based on how well what is happening matches
Right.
up with
That's so
what
true.
you are expecting to happen. So, and
Mhm.
therefore, we have to have these discussions because our hopes and expectations have to
Mhm.
be based in reality.
Mhm.
So, what does that look like for us?
Yeah. Mhm.
What does that look like in our relationship?
Mhm.
So, it's very important to make sure that you discuss some of these with
Yeah.
your spouse.
And these are just some things we just kind of wanted to bring up that you could definitely go back to.
Definitely, but we want to make sure that we get in
We gotta
our
talk about the
they
walk.
got to talk about our walk. We have the 5th annual Married for Life walk coming up next
April 22nd,
next
23rd.
month, April 22nd and 23rd, and we're looking forward to everybody joining us on Friday night. We're gonna have our couples conversations,
Mhm.
and we're gonna have some real talk around relationships.
Yes,
It's gonna be
absolutely.
very like informal,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna have some good music. Gotta have some DJing, some dancing, and then
Mhm.
after that, we're gonna have like game night. We're gonna
Oh
have
yeah.
we have a
We're gonna have some fun.
have
We
some
really
time to
want to
have some fun
connect with the couples that come out, and we really want them to connect with
with
each
other
other.
couples. Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about. Just a room full of people with the same mind of just understanding love, understanding marriage,
Mhm.
and understanding staying together. That's what Friday night is about. Just a good time there.
Yeah, and then Saturday morning we're coming back for our spiritual bonding with one another. We're
Absolutely.
gonna have our time of reaffirming our love for one
Mhm.
another and letting things go. We're gonna have
Mhm.
our morning inspiration through music and
Mhm.
words.
Absolutely.
We always want
Mhm.
to empower couples with practical tools,
Mhm.
that they can use in their relationship. So we're gonna have that time for that,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna have our 2-mile walk,
Absolutely.
holding
Yes.
hands with our spouse or our
Good
partner for
time.
2 miles. Just a reminder to never let go of the hand you're holding. We're all going to experience challenges in our relationship,
Mhm.
but if we remain committed to God and one another and do the work, we can overcome those
Yeah.
challenges. And that's what we want to make sure
Mhm.
that everyone takes away, from the Married for Life walk.
Mhm.
We walk and stand for mental health, because I've been to mental health walks. We
Mhm.
walk and stand for lupus, for
Mhm.
cancer, but we have to walk and
Mhm.
stand for our marriages,
Right.
because commitment looks different for everybody. And we want to show people, we're going to debunk that misconception that marriage,
It doesn't work.
that it doesn't
It's
work.
no good.
It's no good.
It's for the
No,
old people.
exactly. Marriage works, is good, is fun, is
It's
rewarding.
fulfilling.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's good.
It's God-centered.
Yeah, it really is. It's
Mhm.
God centered.
Mhm.
So we just want everyone to come out and just stand with us, all married couples. Well, I mean, not
Engaged,
engaged,
dating.
seriously dating.
Mhm.
Anybody that's committed to marriage.
Right.
You don't even have
You
to be
believe.
married yet, but if you believe in marriage and you
Come
want to
on out and
stand with
join us.
marriages, come out and join us.
And
So
you can find out more at married4lifewalk.com.
that's right. And so we hope to see. And then on social media is at just
At
married.
Married for
Yeah,
Life Walk. At
at
Married
Married
for
for
Life
Life.
Walk.
Yep, with the number 4. So
Mhm.
remember, healthy marriages do not happen by chance. Healthy relationships do not happen by chance, but they happen by choice. So you have to be honest with yourself and be willing to be held accountable to the things that your partner may say to you without giving them back judgment or pushback, and making a commitment to accept change without conflict.
Absolutely. And so Woodrina and I would like to thank you so much for joining us today here on the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show. We had a wonderful time. Look forward to you joining us next week. We would sure love to connect with you on social media and look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yes.
And take care. And again, Coach Martez and Woodrina, we love you, wishing the best for you. See you next week.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Show on Transformation Talk Radio with certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Woodrina Layton. Understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton have been working with outbound couples to strengthen their relationships for the betterment of their lives for 20 years, and it is in their divine role in life to do so. For more information or to schedule an appointment with Coach Martez and Woodrina, go to dreambuilderscoaching.net. That is dreambuilderscoaching.net.